Greetings, delhs community. Welcome to another edition of Holding Court here on the First State Hoops Report YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, FSHR founding editor Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well out there. We've got a lot to discuss. We got a lot to discuss. And I try to keep these videos to 30 minutes or less because, you know, the attention span of myself and anybody watching or listening may not have more than 30 minutes in them per day, and that's fine. So we're going to get to the stuff that we got to get to. But before we do, if you need to find us on your smartphone or laptop or wherever you have your internet access, every available social media platform and our website will be in the description below. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch up on all the video highlights of games as well as this podcast / vlog and any interviews that we're doing. So we got a lot of good stuff going on the First State Hoops Report YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe. We're up to over 100 now. But there's more than 100 basketball fans in the state of Delaware, so I know y'all can come better than that. Just hit the subscribe button and be sure to tap the notification bell so you don't miss anything that we drop. All right, let's get to it. Boys basketball continues to be anybody's game, and we start with Sally's taking a 51-32 decision over Middletown this past Tuesday. By all accounts, missed shots and Sal's ability to rebound is what hurt Middletown, but they rebounded, well, that's a nice play on words by myself, to beat a really tough and good William Penn team on Saturday, 57-49. Middletown is a game up on Appo and St. George's in Flight A, and Saturday was proof that this team reminds me of one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite rappers, Jadakiss, By Your Side. You got to get to the D block before you get to the R, Rough Riders, and if I don't get you today, I'm going to get you tomorrow. What that lyric means to me is Middletown has multiple guys that can score. As you come down the stretch in the state tournament time and, you know, defense gets tighter, the rims get a little bouncier or even shrink a little bit, you need guys and gals, since we're talking about boys and girls basketball on this show, that can get you some points. And Middletown has that in spades. Amir Height and Clyde Frazier were the guys on Saturday. But other times it's been Jaden Rogers, Jaden McGee, Marcus Edmond, Amir Cunningham, Tyron Henson. Middletown, Seaford, and Sally's are the deepest teams in the state as far as like guys that can just get out there and get you some points. Howard isn't that far behind, but those three are just absolutely loaded. And I think those three, along with Tower Hill, would probably be the final four that folks should expect again this year. I mean, that could change. That absolutely could change. But right now, Middletown is rolling along even after the loss of Salesianum. Flight A is still very much a loaded conference as well. Appo won twice this week. St. George's won 3 times. Of course, Cap with the 56-43 win, Friday over Havre de Grace of Maryland. And that was capped by the celebration of the jersey retirement of their most famous alum, Mr. Nashawn Bones Highland. Very nice event that we got to watch, you know, off to the side. So it was pretty cool. Rod Griffin is unsung as far as boys basketball coaches go, in my opinion. You have to have talented players. Of course, if you're going to win games, of course, he's had Bones. He's had Kyson Rawls, who was 3-time All-State at one point, very talented young man. But you still have to have a culture in place as a coach. And coaches will tell you this all the time, you know, that if you run your program a certain way, your players know what is expected of them when they come through that program. And St. George's had a rough season a couple years ago. I think it was the pandemic season. I think they were like 3-12 or something like that. But no. It was either 2019, 2020. It was one of the first 2 years of First State Hoops Report. I know that much, that they had a rough first rough year where it was like 3 wins or 4 wins or something like that. But right now they're 12-2, and they're just a game behind Middletown. They have a game. I think they have a game with Middletown coming up. So that could very much be the deciding game in Flight A. So that's a tribute to Rod Griffin and the culture that he's built in his time at St. George's. You know, you could say saying that you have a guy that's playing in the NBA. What better selling point than that? Appo also has a lot of depth. They're very talented. Tom Person's done a great job with that team as well. Saw them overtake a really solid Cape team on Thursday. We would have had highlights, but the SD card from hell strikes again. And I want to thank the person who sent me a DM on Instagram and said, if you keep getting the notification that you need to reformat, then you just need to throw the SD card away. Because I'm still new to this whole content creation thing from a visual standpoint. I've been a writer for 20 years. The last 3 or 4 years trying to learn how to do photo and video at the same time has just been like, Whew, Lord have mercy. I might have to take a class at some point. But yeah, shouts out to the person who gave me that little tip. So yeah, I just went ahead and got a brand new SD card, and thankfully it worked on Saturday. So that's a bonus for us. But yes, Apple is a very deep team as well. Eric Mathang hasn't played very much because of injury. So what does Tom Purse do? He puts in Ray Carrier. Yes, that's the younger brother of Lorenzo Carrier, who, of course, was quite the athlete at Apple and is now tearing up the baseball circuit at the University of Miami. He dunks like his brother. He has a little better touch from the outside, but as his game develops, he's going to be a real weapon for Apple coming down the stretch. We already know about Hodge Bell and Christian Barksdale, probably in the running for the best backcourt in the state of Delaware. But Daniel Harvey and Riley Busby, who, of course, hit the game winner against Cape on Thursday, add a level of depth and clutch to that team as well. So Apple's another team you should look out for. They're 10-3. They beat Caravel last week and Cape. So they don't go away quickly. Again, their only 3 losses in state were to Middletown, Howard. Well, 2 losses, Middletown and Howard. And they lost to Rosedale Christian of Baltimore in the Viking Classic. And that wasn't a game that they got blown out in. So be on the lookout for Apple as well. Salesianum too. Won twice last week after that loss at Penn. And if there's a team that can go on a hot streak, Taylor Trevison's guys can do it. Never forget, last season they started 1-6. That was when they were playing like Newman Goretti, Amatep Charter, and all the local schools that aren't in Delaware that are pretty doggone good. Sal's went on to win 11 of their last 13 regular season games, and then, of course, made it to the state championship game. They have the guys. You got Isaiah Henson. You got Robbie Johnson Jr. You got Justin Hines. You got Kareem Thomas. And a bunch of depth, role players that can come in and spell those guys. On and on it goes. When they're all on the same page, they're very tough to beat. So not discounting Sal's by any stretch of the imagination. Middletown still is the favorite for First Day Hoops Report. Sorry, Coach Ali. I know you're going to tell your guys to block the outside noise, and we contribute to that outside noise. So, yeah. But, yeah, Middletown's my favorite. Seaford's next. Sally's is up there. Can't discount Tower Hill, of course, the defending state champions. So, but as me and G. Johnson talked about at the Penn Middletown game yesterday, the boys' field is wide open. The 4 that we mentioned could get knocked off early. The schools that we haven't even mentioned that much could make a run. It's going to be fun. Very much looking forward to the state tournament draw coming out on February 24th. So we will be live for that one. We'll have a live. We'll do a Twitter live or Instagram or Facebook live before we head out to the Henlopen Conference Championship game, which will probably be at Dover High that Friday night. At least we hope they'll be at Dover High that Friday night. Anyway, important boys games this week. St. Elizabeth at St. Mark's on Monday. That is a game that could determine A, if the winner even makes the tournament, and B, if they start their run at home. Penn is at Howard on Tuesday. Conrad is hosting Mount Pleasant. That could be another elimination game. Polytech is hosting Sussex Central, who's surprisingly 9-3. Sal's has Apple, Tower, and Sanford this week. The Tower game is going to be a lot because that is the first time Sal's is going to see Tower since that state championship game where Tower Hill literally shot the lights out of the Bob Carpenter Center. And Sanford and Sally's is always a great game. It's always just like been one to watch. And that is going to be the nightcap for the wonderful and important Unlock the Light event at the Chase Fieldhouse this Saturday. We look forward to being in the building for that event as we are every single year. Mental health is important. Really want you guys and gals to understand that you have help available. That, yes, you're young. Life is hard. The world as it is you see what's going on out here. And taking care of your mental health is the most important thing you can do for yourself, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. So just be mindful that it's okay to not be okay, but it's also no shame in saying that you're not okay and getting the help that you need to eventually be okay. And that's what Unlock the Light, expresses through the late Sean Locke, his father, Chris, who's done a tremendous job building up that organization. Very much looking forward to being in the building for Unlock the Light this coming Saturday. Look forward to seeing y'all there. On the girls' side of things, not too much change going on, but quickly, can you name the team, boys or girls, with the longest win streak in the state after a loss? Give you a couple seconds. Give up? It's Cape Henlopen. Winners of 12 straight since they lost their first 2 games of the year. Of course, Ursuline and Delmarva Christian are 14-0 and 13-0 respectively, but they have yet to taste the sting of loss. Cape lost their first 2, and they have not looked back since. Saw them for the second time when they beat Apple 61-55 on Thursday, and how much they've improved has just been astonishing. Well, not really, honestly. Pat Woods is a tremendous coach, number one, and he has the talent, number two. They're just young. Faith Ray and Amalia Fruchtman are their leading scorers, and that's a sophomore in the first year doing it. Like, this is a team that has one senior with extensive varsity experience, and that's point guard Jayana Lee. But she's their spark plug. She's the quickest girl, one of the quickest girls I've seen with the ball all season long. Like, her and Kyla Reed, it was like a track meet on Thursday. It was like, okay, who's coming, inbound the ball, zip, inbound the ball, zip. And there, I mean, with that kind of speed, you figured the game would be a little higher scoring, but both teams played very well defensively. Cape just had a little more in the tank. Second quarter really did it for Cape, honestly. They went on like a 17, I think it was a 17-4 run between the first and second quarter to really give them a lead ahead of the Apple. Apple made it interesting late, but Cape held on. But this is a team that's clicking on all cylinders right now. And the only question is how the tournament draw is going to shake out, because if this team gets like one of the top four seeds, that's a problem you don't want to have if you are going to have a tough first round game, then have to drive all the way down to Lewis to face that talented team. Cape is a team that everybody should watch out for. I'm not going to make any pronouncements as of yet to their tournament prospects, but be on the lookout for Cape. They're very, very good. Tatnall finally lost the game. They lost to a very good Lansdale Christian team on Saturday, and they will host Sanford this particular Tuesday. We are looking forward to being in the building for that one. It was originally at 5:15, and then I looked at the schedule as I started, putting together this particular vlog, and I saw it was moved to 4 o'clock. So, looks like I'm going to have to tiptoe out of work a little early. I hope my bosses don't mind. Of course, they don't mind. They already know what I do, so it's not that big of a deal. But, yes, I will be there on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. It'll be our first chance to see Marcus Thompson's girls in person as well, because they've played an extensive schedule out of state and the independent conference schedule. We just got to see them against somebody, that's going to give them a challenge. And Tatnall is absolutely going to give them a challenge. So we're very much looking forward to that game. They played 2 very tough games last year. Never forget watching on stream last year at Tatnall. They were up. Hornets were up like, I think, 4 or 5 points, but Sanford went on a 9-0 run to end the game and just locked in defensively, and that's just what Sanford does. And I suspect this year will be no different. That'll be a close game, very exciting, maybe a game of the year potential. We're very much looking forward to that one. AI passed their last Flight B test with a win at Howard on Tuesday, and they're another team that can have first-round bye aspirations. To their credit, they're 12-1. You got to win. You got to beat who's in front of you, and that's what AI has been able to do. That Tatnall game could be worth a couple extra points. That's their only loss at this point. And a few other opponents that are going to finish above 500 or even close to the 701 mark, that's going to help their point index, so AI could have a bye as well. Apple also is in line for a bye. They're 11-3. They have a ton of opponents that are 500 or better. Their toughest 2 games left on their schedule, they have 6 games left. Their toughest 2 are on the road at the end of the regular season. They visit Delmarva Christian, who has yet to lose a game, and they have Smyrna, who looks like they're finally going to get over the hump of being the team that's almost good enough to make the state tournament, but they look good enough this year to finish the job. So very much those 2 games are going to be very important. That could be a first round or second round matchup, honestly, Apo and Smyrna. So be on the lookout for that one. Important games this week also include Middletown at AI on Tuesday. AI, this will be probably their first test since they played Tatnall. Middletown, they are a team that has the potential. They're 9-3, at the moment. They finished 9-11 last year. If they could just get to 11 or 12 wins, I feel like they'll make the state tournament. I don't know if that'll come against AI, but it could be a potential 2-point loss for them, which would be nice towards the point index. Of course, we already mentioned Sanford at Tatnall on Tuesday. Caravel is visiting Woodbridge on Thursday. Wilmington Charter and Archmere on Thursday. That winner will have sole possession of first place in the Diamond State, as DMA lost to St. E earlier last week. So the last 2 unbeatens in the Diamond State. And thanks to head coach Eileen Volz for reminding us of this particular fact last week, that it was a 3-way dance up until St. E's beat DMA. So yes, the last 2 unbeatens in the girls on the girls' side of Diamond State, Charter and Archmere on Thursday. That should be a good one. Also, there's going to be plenty of good basketball on the boys and girls side down at Unlock the Light. Once again, as I always say on this particular podcast, go get your tickets. Go see these teams and players play. Support them. Show love. Just be a good sport and just watch these girls and guys play, and you'll be glad that you did. Okay. Now, to close this out, we are going to address the elephant in the room. As you've all heard by now, there was an incident in Florida last weekend, where a Howard player and his parent had a confrontation with a game official that ended poorly. Most confrontations of that kind do. It ended with Howard playing most of their JV squad against AI in the battle for first place. 14 varsity players were suspended for one game for, I guess, leaving the bench area. And of course, the parent and his player have been charged, as is Florida law, when an official is met with bodily harm. Actions have consequences. There's no denying that. It's an unfortunate mistake in the heat of the moment that's going to be costly for the young man, going to be costly for his father, and costly for Howard High School. But that's kind of the problem I have with the discourse surrounding it. Before I continue, it is important, in the interest of full disclosure, that yes, I am a Howard High graduate, native of Wilmington's East Side, so I'm very familiar with the terrain and the territory. I also know that some observers, fans, media, and otherwise tend to only share their views on Howard and Wilmington when something negative happens. When whatever your views of what goes on in the city, good, bad, or indifferent, and it's mostly bad from a lot of people, usually comes from the comfort of your homes far removed from the city, and that's your choice. I'm not in the business of changing people's minds who don't want to be changed. If you want to help, there's an old saying that goes, help or hush. Some of y'all could benefit from choosing the latter, because you're not helping the discourse, you're not helping the kids, you're not helping the community. You're just talking from a window of moral superiority that's just absolutely flimsy at best. And I will say, for all the nonsense that goes on with adults inserting themselves in high school sports, as more than a few are apt to do, the moral high ground that you speak from could easily crumble beneath the weight of your own mess. I say that because I saw a tweet from a fan who said that you can't talk about Howard without someone playing the race game or the race card. And I find that an interesting stance to take, considering this fan pretty much made their business to expose what other football programs and coaches were doing around the state, like he was writing Ralph Nader's Unsafe at Any Speed at some point, or something to that effect. Also, if Howard is a school where the majority of the student body, I think like 85%, is Black or Latino, and it's located in a city that is mostly Black and Latino at the moment, aren't you looking through the lens of race when you make your comments? 2 + 2 usually equals 4, if my math is correct. Once again, I'm not a math major. So that's something you'll have to sit with on your own time. Also, lastly, my colleagues and associates in the media who feel empowered to editorialize a school less than 1,000 kids and didn't expect me to jump on a bandwagon, what's going on there, because it's interesting, because my mind automatically thinks, what do you guys think and say about me when I'm not around? So yes, a kid and his dad got into it with an official wearing Howard colors, and it is not a good look for the situation. Not a good look for the school, excuse me. It's not a good situation either. But when, how, and why people choose to take umbrage with the school and the school community remains a mystery to me and a lot of people, honestly. Well, except for the people with the issue. And whatever your issue is, that's something you're just going to have to reconcile on your own time, because it doesn't help the kids, it doesn't help the school, and it really just sit with your own foolishness. Trust me. You'll either come to a realization or you'll just continue to be ignorant. Choice is yours. That's going to do it for this edition of Holding Court. Greatly appreciate y'all's eyes, ears, hearts, and minds every week, as always. Again, all of our social media channels, contact info, and website links are in the description below. Looking forward to seeing you all in the gyms and at the Chase this week. Till then, please take care of yourselves out there, and peace out.